this video, we are going to work on writing inequalities. So, one thing that we need to look at is what symbol can be used to mean no more than 5. So, we're going to spend a little bit of time looking at what this statement here means no more than. So, one thing that no more than would mean is the largest number that it can be. So, if I have 5 here, 5 is the largest number that I can have. No more than also means it can't be more than this number. So that means I can't have anything over here. No more than also means it can be equal to this number. So that means I can put my dot on here showing that it's equal to that 5. And then no more than means it can be smaller or less than that number. So then my arrow would go this direction. So when I write my inequality, I would have x is less than or equal to 5. Now, what symbol can be used to mean no less than? So again, we're going to take a look at what this phrase right here, no less than, represents. So first thing I can look at is no less than. It can't be less than that number. So if I have a number 5 here, it can't be less, so it's not going to be any of these numbers. No less than, the smallest number it can be is that number. So 5 here is the smallest number it can be. No less than, it can be equal to that number. So again, I can put my dot here to show that it's equal to that number. And no less than, it can be greater or larger than that number. So my arrow would go this direction. So then my inequality would be x is greater than or equal to 5. So now we're going to look at what symbol can be used to mean at most 5. So we're going to take a look at this right here. What does it mean to be at most? Well, I know that most is the largest amount. So that means at most, the largest amount it can be is this number. So if I have 5 here, this 5 is my largest number or largest amount that I can have. At most means it can be smaller or less than that number. So I'm not going to have any numbers here, but my arrow is going to go this direction. And then lastly, at most, it can be equal to that number. So again, I'm going to put my dot here for my graph, which means then x is less than or equal to 5. Now I have at least 5. So again, I'm going to take a look here at what it means to be at least. Well, I know that least is the smallest amount. So that means at least is the smallest value that number can be. So again, if I have 5 here, this 5 is my smallest amount. At least means that it can be larger than that number. So I won't have any numbers that are smaller than it, and my graph will go this direction. And then at least means it can be equal to that number as well. So I'm going to put my dot here to say that it's equal to. So that means that x is greater than or equal to 5. So now let's look at some of these situations here. It says a number n is greater than 22. So I have my n. Here it says greater than. So here's my greater than sign, 22. So here would be my inequality for that. The number of quarters Q in the jar is less than 75. So I have my Q. It says here less than. So I put my less than sign, 75. The width of the picture, W, is shorter than 8.5 inches. So I have my variable, which is W, shorter than would be the same thing as less than. And so I would have W is less than 8.5. The length of the fish a fisherman catches, F, must be at least 10 inches for him to keep it. So here I have my variable F, and then here I have my 10, but it says at least 10 inches. Well, remember that now 10 has to be the smallest amount or smallest number for at least to be true. So that means F is going to be greater than or equal to 10. Here we have Sally's age, A, is at most 15. So again, I have Sally's age, which is A. I have my 15, and it says here at most. So that means my 15 is the largest value or largest number that I can have. And so that means A has to be less than or equal to 15.